Begin the Gemara today on Daf Hey Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top of the Amud where it says Tanan. So we're in the middle of a sugya here. The Gemara is discussing the concept of Yudayim regarding a neder. When a person says an incomplete sentence, and the Mishnah says that nevertheless the neder takes effect. So in the Mishnah, when it said this halacha, the Mishnah explained, the person says Mudrani mimcha, Mufreshani mimcha, Meruchakani mimcha. Then the Mishnah adds Shani oichalach, Shani toyim lach. That it's aser. On this Mishnah, Shmuel says that it's only if he says this together. If he says Mudrani mimcha, and then he adds Shani oichalacha, regarding eating from you. Only if he says it together, then it's going to be aser. That's what Shmuel said. But the Gemara brought 2 braises where you see clearly that even if he just says Mudrani mimcha, without the conclusion of Shani oichalacha, or even if he just says Shani oichalacha without Mudrani mimcha, it'll still be aser. 2 braises we brought. So therefore, the Gemara switched this, and the Gemara actually said that what Shmuel was saying is, when a person says the whole sentence, Mudrani mimcha, Sha'ani oichalacha, then what happens is, you become aser to eat from your friend, and that's it. Your friend is not aser from you. You spelled out that it's regarding you eating from your friend. But if you just say, Mudrani mimcha, then what happens is, this is a kind of a lashon that's not so clear. So actually in this lashon, what's going to happen is you're going to be aser from your friend, and your friend is also going to be aser from you. Because included in this lashon, when you say the word mimcha, mudrani mimcha, I have a neder with you, what does with you mean? It could be me from you, and also your hana from me. Mimcha means you and your hana, meaning that I can't hana of you, so it goes both ways. So adarabah, when you only say those 2 words, mudrani mimcha, it's going to be even more stringent. You are going to be aser from your friend, and your friend is going to be aser from you. That's what Shmuel said, and the Gemara brought a statement from Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina that said the same thing. As you see, Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina said, Mudrani heimach, shneim asurim. They're both going to become aser. So this the Gemara brings a Mishnah from the Masechta later, which is going to refute this. Tanan, the Mishnah later says as follows. A person uses a similar lashon, also not so clear. Hareini alecha chedem. I am on you chedem. Chedem is an expression which means aser, that I should have aser to have anah from you. So what does the Mishnah there say? Hamudar aser, the one that the neder was made on him, the one that the neder was made for him, to him, he becomes aser, avol madir loy. But the one that makes the neder is not aser. So what does this mean? What is that Mishnah there saying? That Mishnah is saying when you use this term, Hareini Alecha Chayrim, what you're saying is your friend that you're speaking to, the Mudar, he becomes aser to you, but you don't become aser to him. So the question is, this Lashon, Hareini Alecha Chayrim, is very similar to the Lashon Mudrani Mimcha. Why don't we say it goes both ways? Why don't we say Alecha? Alecha Chayrim means you and your Hana should be aser, meaning I should be aser on you, and your hana should be aser on me. It should go both ways, just like Rav Yossi Bar Chanina said regarding Mudrani Mimach, that it goes both ways. Answers the Gemara, that Mishnah, what it's speaking about is, Kogoyin de Parish, the case is that he spelled out clearly, Va'at alai loy, and you should not be aser to me. I'm going to be aser to you, but you not on me. So he spelled it out clearly. Yeah, he specified. Now, the next case of that Mishnah, what does it say there? At olai chedem. You on me should be a chedem. So then the Mishnah says, with this expression, what is he saying? Hanayder aser, the person himself that makes this neder, he becomes aser. He's saying, olai on me, he becomes aser. Avol muder loy, the one that you made the neder, to him, he does not become aser to have a na of you. Loy, he does not become aser. So the question over here again is this a similar question. The Gemara is asking, why not? When you say this lashon, at olai chedem, olai should mean me and my hana. Both should go together. You should say that you become aser on me, and my hana should become aser on you. Just like we say regarding the lashon mudrani mimach. Mudrani mimach, mimach means from you and your hana. We say that it goes both ways. So over here in this lashon at olai chedem, why doesn't it go both ways as well? So again, the Gemara says the same answer. Kagoyin the Parish, he specified and said, Va'ana alach loy, and I should not be aser to you. That's the pshat and the reisha of that Mishnah. So the Gemara now asks, so what does this mean? Avol stam. If so, in a case where a person just says this lashon stam, He didn't spell out. He just said Hareini Alecha Cherem, or he said Atolai Cherem, without specifying that I'm not going to be also to you, or you're not going to be also on me. So what's going to be the halacha? So what are you telling me the halacha is? Shneim Asurim, they're going to be also to each other. But is that so? What does it say further in the Sefer of that Mishnah? Hareini Alecha and Va'at Alai. If he said the Lashon clearly, I am on you, Acherem, and you are on me, Acherem, then Shnei Masurim. Then they're going to be both us on each other. Again, this goes together. Hareini Alecha Va'at Alai Shnei Masurim. Hadinu the Shnei Masurim. Then the halacha is that they're both going to be asur on each other. So what do you see from the Sefer of that Mishnah? Only if he specifies and clearly says, I'm going to be asur to you and you're going to be asur to me, then they become both asur to each other. But if a person just says stam, Hareini Alecha Cherem, for example, and he doesn't specify that it should go both ways, that we should be asur on each other, so who asur? And v'chavere mutter. He would be asur and his chavere would be allowed to have a no from him. It does not go automatically both ways. So the point is that now, from the expression, from the lashon of that Mishnah, especially from the Sefer, we clearly see, not like what we said before in the name of Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, that when you use a term, a stam lashon, mudrani mimach, that mudrani mimach means both ways, that I'm asur on you and that you're asur on me. So therefore the Gemara switches this. Elo, we have to say, Hachi itmed Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina. This is what we learned. This is really what Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina said. Mudar ani loch. Different lashon, not mimach or heimach. If he says mudar ani loch, the term loch means then shnei masurin. Then they're both going to be asur to each other. The term loch is not a clear term. Mudar ani, I am mudar loch. Loch could mean to you. Loch could mean from you. The word loch is not a clear term. Therefore, when you say the word loch, then I say they're both going to be asur to each other. Mudrani heimach, but if you use the term mudrani heimach, I am also heim. What does heimach mean? Heimach means from you. So when you say from you, then who aser? You're going to be also from your friend, the chaveri mutter, and your chaver will be mutter to have a no from you. So the term of mudrani heimach, which is really the term that our Mishnah said, it's the same thing like saying mudrani mimach. Mimach and heimach are basically the same word. So when you say just mudrani heimach or mimach, so then it only goes one way. You're going to be also from your friend, and your friend is not going to be also from you. Aval, we are over here, 1 second. Frag the Gemara. Oh, so now based on this, the Gemara asks, now let's go back to what Shmuel said in our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, it does use the term of heimach. In our Mishnah, like I said, it actually says in our Mishnah mimach. It says in the Mishnah, a person says mudrani mimach. And now, according to Shmuel, how did he explain? What is our Mishnah speaking about? That bekulan, and all of the expressions that it says in the Mishnah, when it says mudrani mimach, mufreshani mimach, merchokani mimach, in all of those expressions, he's not going to be aser ad sheyoyma shani tayim lach v'shani yoichelach, unless he's also going to add regarding tasting from you or eating from you. Only then is he going to be aser to his friend. And what do I say? Then I say, who the asur v'chavere mutter. You're going to be asur to eating from your friend, and your friend is going to be mutter to eat from you. But how did we explain before? What did Shmuel mean to say? If he doesn't say the full sentence, he doesn't add the words sha'ani oichalach, he just says mudrani heimach. What does that mean? Shnei masurin. So Shmuel said that in such a case they're both going to be asur from each other. So how are we going to explain what Shmuel says if we brought the Mishnah from later in the Masechta, where there we see that when you use this term of mudrani heimach, they should not be asur both from each other. Ella, so the Gemara in here now switches what Shmuel meant to say. Meikare the Shmuel hachiyitmer. So what Shmuel really said is as follows: that he said on the Mishnah that time the Omar shani yoichelach v'shani tayim lach. If a person said the full statement, he said mudrani mimach, and then he added the conclusion of the statement as well, shani yoichelach or shani tayim lach. Who then I say that the einu aser ela bachila. So then he's only going to be aser to eat from his friend, because he spelled out, I'm going to be aser from you for what? Just for eating. Oh, mudrani mimach. But if he just says mudrani mimach, that I'm making a neder from you, and he doesn't spell out regarding what, So then I say, Asr afilu bahana. Because he didn't spell out what the Isser should be for, he's going to actually be Asr to have any type of benefit from his friend. That's what Shmuel meant to say. So in other words, Shmuel was actually saying that if you don't finish off your sentence and you don't specify regarding what the Isser is, it's going to be more chomer, it's going to be more stringent, because he didn't specify for what. So now you're going to be Asr completely bahana.
It's only one way.
Yeah, but it's only you from your friend, but not both ways. Like we saw before, they don't become Asr from each other, correct? This can't be what Shmuel meant to say, because if so, leme Shmuel hachi. If so, Shmuel should use this kind of a terminology that it should be clear that he's coming actually to be more stringent. V'im loy amar. If he did not say Elo shani oichelach v'shani tayim lach. If he did not say, or the Bach here says, V'im loy amar shani oichelach v'shani tayim lach, then aser afile bahana. In our Gemara it says different. But the Bach says that the Gemara is asking that when we learned the Lashon of Shmuel, it's mashma that Shmuel is coming to say, if you look before in Daf Daled Amud Beis, so in the middle of the Daf there, it brought what Shmuel said. It says, it's mashma, Shmuel is coming to be lenient. What he's saying is, if you said the full statement, so then the neder takes effect. If you did not say it, then the neder does not take effect. Now we're actually saying the reverse. What Shmuel is saying is, if you only say half of the statement, it's actually more stringent. But it's not mashmas on what Shmuel meant to say. Shmuel should have said that if you don't say the whole thing, then you become totally Asr bahana. That's the question here. I mean, the Ran actually says that this question the Gemara is asking now, the Gemara could have asked already earlier, when the Gemara said that the pshat, what Shmuel meant to say is that if you don't finish the full statement, then the Isser goes both ways. You become Asr on your friend becomes Asr on you. So Shmuel was also saying a chumrah if you don't finish the whole statement. The Gemara could have asked the same question, that it's not mashma in the lashon of Shmuel that it's coming to be more machmer. Ella, so the Gemara goes back to the original pshat, the simple pshat of what Shmuel said in the beginning. Ella, hachi itmer, this is how we have to learn what Shmuel said. If he concluded the statement, he said mudrani, and then he added shani yechalach or shani tayim lach, hu the aser. So then, because he said the statement fully, so then he becomes aser. Avalama mudrani heimach. If he just said the two words mudrani heimach, loi, he's not going to be aser. Loi mashma dama aser. So it's not mashma that he means to say that it should be aser. Why not? My time mudrani mimach. If you just say these words mudrani mimach and you don't spell out sha'ani oichalach or sha'ani tayim lach, what does this mean? It could also mean loi mishtine badach. All it could mean is I'm not going to speak to you. Mashma, that's what it means. Mufreshani mimcha. When a person says I'm separated from you, what it means is lo yavidna imach maso matan. All he means to say is I'm not going to do business with you. Murachakani mimach means like kimne bedal damas dilach mashma. I'm not going to stand in your dal damas. I'm not going to stand near you. It's not mashma that I'm not going to have hana from you or that I'm not going to eat from you. That's what Shmuel meant to say. So now there's a machlekes tishanim actually about this. In the simple pshat of the Gemara, it comes out what the Gemara is saying is, if a person says the words mudrani mimach sha'ani yoichalach, I'm making a neder regarding eating from you, then what happens is he becomes asur to eat from his friend. But if he just says mudrani mimach, so we don't know what that means. A neder from you for what? It could mean just that he's not going to speak with him. So some Rishonim say that because it's not clear what he means, he's actually not going to be asur at all, not even from speaking to his friend. But other Rishonim say, most Rishonim say, he will be also to speak with his friend. At least that, yeah. He's going to be allowed to have any other kind of benefit from him. He'll be allowed to eat from him or any anah from him. But speaking to him, he will not be allowed to speak to him. That, yeah. Okay, that's the final maskana of how the Gemara learns what Shmuel says. Now, just to point out another thing, even though the Gemara before brought two clear braises that say that even if you just say the two words mudrani mimach, you do become asar from having hana from your friend. Not like what Shmuel is saying here. But, as we'll see soon in the Gemara, this is going to be a machlokes tanoim. So the fact that we have a braisa that says different is not a problem on what Shmuel said. Shmuel's coming to explain our Mishnah. There's a braisa that says different. This concept is a machlokes tanoim. And here, in the continuation of the Gemara, we come to the main point of what's really going on over here in this whole discussion in these various different incomplete sentences in the lashon of a neder. The Gemara explains now the real background of the whole story here. Let's see. Sagt the Gemara, so now, based on this, so what's the conclusion? Shmuel says that when you just say two words, mudrani mimach, because it's not clear that you meant to be aser bahana, you do not become aser bahana. Maybe you only become aser to talk with your friend, but you will not become aser bahana. So now, lema, shall we say, kasava Shmuel, that Shmuel holds, yudayim, she'em echichais, lehavin yudayim. This whole entire concept regarding a neder, that when you have a partial statement, a handle, that the partial statement is enough that the neder should take effect, but if it's einon mechichais, if this partial statement is not clear what you meant, then the yad does not have a koyach of a yad. It has to be, yes, even a partial statement, but it has to be mechichais. It has to be something that indicates clearly what you meant. When you say mudrani mimach, because it doesn't mean clearly this, the neder will not take effect. Just to clarify what this concept of Yudayim Shem Echichis means, Yudayim Shem Echichis does not mean that it's something that has no piddush whatsoever, that you can't see what the person meant. It means that even if it's leaning in a certain direction, there's a certain mashmos, what he did mean. When a person says mudrani mimach and he doesn't specify, there is a reason to believe that he meant to say that I am asering bahana completely from you. But it's not mechichis. It's not clear enough. It's not for sure. The only time a yad is going to, the neder will take effect when it's an incomplete sentence, is if it's mechichis. If it's something that there's no other way how to explain what he meant, and he had to have meant this. It's to be mechichis. So from Shmuel it seems, if it's not mechichis, then it's not yadayim. Says the Gemara yes, this is what Shmuel holds. Shmuel maikim la lemasnisin ke Rabbi Yehuda. Shmuel says that our Mishnah follows the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar, Rabbi Yehuda said, Yadayim she'em mechichais. When you have a handle, you have this partial statement that's not clear, you have Yadayim. It does not have the din of a yad of a neder, and the neder will not take effect. Where do we see that this is what Rabbi Yehuda said? Because we learned in the Mishnah regarding the nusach that you have to write, the basic nusach that you have to write into a get. Gufay shall get. What are the words of a get? The main words that you have to write into a get. Harei at muteres l'chol adam. You write into the get, you are permitted to marry any man. That is the get. You don't have to write anything more. That's what the Tanakhama says. Rabbi Yehuda adds and says, you have to specify and say, V'dein, this get, the heavy lechi minoi, that you're getting from me, Sefer Tiruchen, this is a Sefer of Tiruchen, which means to separate you from me, and V'yigera shvuken, a letter of letting you go. So what do you see here in the words of Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda is adding that you have to specify two details. You have to say V'dein, that the Gedushin is happening with this get. Don't think that the Gedushin is happening because I'm sending you out of the house or just with my words. You have to specify that the Gedushin is happening with this physical document here. And also you have to specify minoi. I'm the husband that's divorcing you. Me. Right, so here we see that even though when you write Hareat Mutaris L'chol Adam, there's a yad there. If a man gives his wife this kind of a document where it says Hareat Mutaris L'chol Adam, this itself, even though it's not 100% complete specified, but it's clear, it's mashma that he means to divorce her with this document. But it's not mechichos, it's not clear enough. He has to spell it out clearly that it's from me and it's with this get. So our Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. That's what Shmuel held. So the Gemara asks him this, but why? Why is Shmuel saying that our Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that if the yad is not mechiach, then the yad doesn't work? Why wouldn't he say that our Mishnah follows the Rabbanah's opinion? That afagav the en yadai mechichais, that even a yad which is not 100% clear, so even if you would say just mudrani mimach itself, that would be enough that the neder should take effect and you should be totally asabano. So Rava answers, the reason is because Masnisin Kashise. He had a question on the Mishnah that the words in the Mishnah itself shows like Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Why? Amai Tani, why does the Mishnah say that he said Sha'ani Eichel Loch? Yeah, the word Loch. Sha'ani Toyim Loch. Why does it add this word Loch? Right, according to Shmuel, he's supposed to read the whole sentence together. He said Mudrani Mimach Sha'ani Eichel. Wouldn't that be enough? Mudrani Mimach, I make a neder of you regarding me eating. You don't have to add again the word loch. Why is he saying the word loch again? Listni shani eichel, shani tayim. That regarding me eating or regarding me tasting. Why does it say the word loch? Shmami na beinan yadayim mechichais. So therefore this proves that even with an incomplete sentence, you still have to have yadayim mechichais. It has to be something which is clear that it's me having enough from you. So that's why you have to add the word loch. But now just what? Right. Because so I think that Ran explains that if you would not add the word loch, then there would be room to say that even though he already said mimoch, you would say he's saying like this: Mudrani mimoch, I'm making a neder from you that I'm not going to talk to you. Shani yoichel, on the condition that I would eat. Maybe the shani yoichel is just some kind of a condition, but who says that's the actual neder? When he adds shani yoichel loch, so then he's making it clear that I don't want to eat from you. Okay, but just don't forget an important point that we already learned in the beginning. This is still considered to be an incomplete sentence, even though he said pretty clearly, Mudrani mimach sha'ani yoichalach. And the reason why it's still considered to be only a yad and not a full sentence is because he never said the word asr. Or he never said, you should be to me like a carbon, which means asr. So therefore it's still considered to be only a yad. So the Gemara here, the Gemara brings the source of this machlekes regarding this subject from other Amirai. Itmer, so we learned this machlekes. Yadayim she'ei mechiches. When you have the yad, an incomplete sentence of a neder, which is not mechiches, it's not 100% clear. Abaye so Abaye says, Havyon yadayim. That's enough of a yad that we can say the neder takes effect. But Rava says, Lo havyon yadayim. If it's not 100% mechichais, then it's not a yad, and the neder does not take effect. Omar Rava, so Rava says, Rab Idi asberili. Rab Idi explained to me the source of this halacha that it has to be yadayim mechichais, that it has to be clear. Because Omar Kra, from where do we learn out this whole entire concept that even a yad, a handle, an incomplete sentence, that it takes effect? So we already brought before in the Gemara on Daf Gimel, we learn it out from the double lashon that it says by a nazir, nazir lahazir lashem. So from there we see that even if you make the neder by nazirus, not with a full sentence, it takes effect. That's the source for the concept of yad. So if so, we learn from there, makish yadais nazirais lenazirais. We compare the yad by saying an incomplete sentence for nazirus to the nazirus itself. What's the halacha by nazirus? When a person says he wants to be a nazir, ma nazirus bahafla. By nazirus, it has to be something which is clear. That's the term the Torah uses by Nazirus. Ki yafli. Yafli means a person spells it out. Avyada is Nazirus bafla. Even an incomplete sentence that he says to be a Nazir, even though we see from the double lashon that an incomplete sentence will make you a Nazir, but it has to be clear enough. It has to be an oifen of hafla. It has to be mechichais, right? That's the source of Rava. Sagt the Gemara, now going back to the machlokes we brought before from the get. So lame, shall we say, that the machlokes of Abaye and Rava here, beplukte the Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbana kamifliki. They're arguing in this same argument that we had just before regarding the get. Tnan, as we brought before the Mishnah regarding the get, gufishal get, what is the language in a get? Hareat materes l'chalodam. Tanakama says, you just write hareat materes l'chalodam, that's good enough. Rabbi Yehuda says, what do you write? V'dein, v'yehevi lechi minoi, sefer teruchim, v'get peturin, v'yeget es shvukin. Here we have in the Gemara another two words, get peturim. We didn't have it before. I get a shvukin, that's the lashon of a get. Point is, you have to spell out bain, it's this document, and you have to say minoi. It's from me. I'm the one that's divorcing you. So here you see clearly this machlokes between the Tanakama and Rabbanan, whether you could rely on a yad which is not mechiach or not. So Abaye the Omar K'Rabbanan. It seems like Abaye would go according to the Rabbanan, that says that even an incomplete, even if it's not mechiach, it's good enough. And the Rava the Omar K'Rab Yehuda, and Rava that says that if it's a yad and it's not clear, then the get would not take effect. So over here as well, regarding every neder, if it's not clear enough, it doesn't take effect, like Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara answers, So the Gemara answers, Amaloch Abaye. Abaye says, no, Anod Amri Afil Rabbi Yehuda. My opinion that the yad, which is not mechiach, is good, is considered to be the neder takes effect. I could go even according to Rabbi Yehuda that says that you have to specify in the get that it's from me, minoi. Why? Because Atkan lekom Rabbi Yehuda bin Yadayim mechichais. When does Rabbi Yehuda say that he's stringent, that it has to be clear what it is that you're doing over here with this get? Elagabi get. That's only by a get. Why? To be inon krisus. By a get, the Torah writes that has to be a sefer krisus, has to be very clear that this is a document that's cutting ties from her and him. So therefore, veleke, if it's not going to be 100% spelled out clear by a get, there's no such a thing as a yad, she'ei mechichais, because over there by a get it has to be clear. By a neder is different than a get. By a neder, maybe even yadayim she'ei mechichais is good enough. Aval ba'alma mishametle. In another case, not a get, by a neder, Rabbi Yehuda never said that if the yad is not 100% clear that it won't take effect. Rava says that there's a svara to say the reverse. I that say that you must have Yadayim Mechichos could even go according to the Rabbanan's opinion that say that by a get, even without specifying, just saying Aret Materes L'chol Adam is good enough. Why? Over there, the Rabbanan said regarding a get that without specifying is good enough. The Loibina Yadayim Mechichos, it doesn't have to be 100% clear. Elagabi get. That's only regarding a get. Why? Because the Ein Adam Megadish is Eishes Chaveiroi. Because a person is not being Megadish his friend's wife. So if we hear when you give your wife a get, so it's clear that it's the husband is giving his wife a get. So who's being Megadish her? Someone else is being Megadish his wife? Obviously it's from you. It's not necessary to specify the word minoi, from me. By a get, it's clear from the very what's happening here. But in another case regarding a neder where it's not so clear from what's happening that it's not mechichai, so in another case even the Rabbana would agree that the sentence has to be clear enough in order for the neder to take effect. So let me just explain two details regarding the last point the Gemara says here. Number one, it seems like what the Gemara is trying to say is that by the get, because it's the husband giving it to his wife, even without writing the word minoi, that it's me divorcing you, it's 100% clear without this. Does the Gemara mean to say that in such a case it's mamish yadayim mechichais? No, that's not what the Gemara means to say. The Rishonim say, the Gemara is saying it's still called yadayim shem mechichais. If you look into the actual language of the get, the language does not make it clear who is the one that's divorcing her. Even though what's happening, that it's the husband giving it to his wife, makes it clear who's divorcing it, but the language itself of the get it's still not 100% clear. And therefore there's a machlokes about this. That's why Rabbi Yehuda says it's not enough that what's happening makes it clear that the husband is divorcing his wife. It actually has to be written in the words of the get. The lashon of the get has to be clear. That's one point. Another point is, here in this last point, the Gemara is focusing on the word minoi. Minoi, that it's from me, that I'm the one divorcing you and not someone else is divorcing you. But the emes is, there is another detail here that Rabbi Yehuda says that the Gemara does not focus on here, and that is the word v'dein. That you have to make clear that it's not my words which is divorcing you, b'dibur, but it's the document, it's the get that's divorcing you. The v'dein, this physical document. The Gemara doesn't focus on that here. The Ran says there's another Gemara in Gittin that focuses on that detail, but over here the Gemara is only focusing on the minoi. And the Gemara is saying that according to the Rabbanan, there's no reason to write minoi. It's clear that he's the husband.